Babe? Haha. Right. The cold never bothered me anyway. What's up, everybody? How's it going? I'm just starting off my day with guitar repair. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to do a little live here. I'm working on this nice Guild guitar. It's an older one, which, you know, these were always made really good. But I always liked these guitars. I feel like these guitars were, these Guild guitars were very, like the price was like amazing and they were just solid guitars. So, yeah, what I'm doing right now is you could see the binding is coming off. I already did this side, which I went ahead and put the binding. Binding is perfectly on there. I glued it down. The thing about this is that when the binding starts coming off like this, it starts to shrink. So when it starts to shrink, you can't really put it back down. Um, and the best thing to do is you want to apply heat to this right here so that. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you, thank you. You want to apply heat to the. Hey, hello. Hey, hello. All right, you want to go ahead and put heat. You want to apply heat right here to the the binding because this is going to it's going to make it loose and it's going to be able to fit, you know. And then you want to get tape like I did right here. You want to get tape like each and every step of the way so that you can have that kind of like tension there. Or you can use like a caul piece of wood, you know, that bends. I'm not going to do all that steaming right now. That's why the tape works perfect. So if I wanted to get a piece of wood to fit this perfectly, you would have to steam it and all that stuff. And you know, I'm just not going to do that right now. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab this little it's like a little chisel. You can get these at Michael's. I want to say these were like $7, maybe 15, but anything on StewMac is going to be, you know, it's going to be a little more expensive. It is going to be more sturdier and better quality, but this is perfect. This will do just fine. So what I do is I'm just going to lift it up and I'm going to barely go in and just start like scraping off the glue just a little bit on the wood of the guitar. You can see that I'm just scraping off the glue. And you don't want to like carve into it. You want to go very, very light. So again, you know, what I can do is I can steam this whole side and, you know, steam the. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know. Every time a phone call comes in, I like lose my screen for some reason. That's probably a thing that happens. But can you guys hear me? If anybody can hear me, just say you can. And yeah. So okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue doing this. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and again, I'm fixing the binding. You see this? And I did a little video on my Instagram about why this happens. If you have one of these, like, you know, they're usually on higher end guitars where they do have the binding right here. What you want to do is, the reason why this binding comes off is because you don't have the guitar humidified. People ask, what is that? What is humidification? This guitar, it gets dry because you leave it out and the humidity, the temperature is off, and it starts taking all the water out inside the wood. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. There's water inside the wood. So when it takes all the water out, the wood gets really dry. When wood gets dry, it gets weak. When it gets weak, the glue that is inside the pores, they start breaking. Okay? So usually what happens is, if you look at an acoustic guitar on the back side right here, if you look down it like this, sometimes if the guitar is really dry and weak, you can see that it cracks open right here. It starts splitting. When it starts splitting, there's no way around that. What you have to do is you have to literally take off the bridge, and then you have to get like a razor blade or a chisel and very lightly take out all the glue on both sides. Okay. For the bridge, usually what I do is I have a belt sander, and I'll just run the bridge on top of the belt sander until all the glue's gone. That's one way to do it. But on the guitar, you're gonna have to literally get a razor blade, or you can get one of these like chisels right here, and very, very lightly take a little material off. You don't want to go too deep into the material because you're going to start messing with the height of the bridge. Okay, so that's something to think about if you have a guitar and you know you have to humidify it. I'm going to show you something right here. This is a humidifier. You can grab this humidifier at Guitar Center. This is an old style humidifier. So this little piece of plastic, right? It's like a cartridge. It has a little piece of sponge. Okay, it has a sponge in it. You can see the sponge right there. It's yellow. You wet that sponge a little bit, put it back into the top. The top comes off. And then you're going to go ahead and put it in your guitar like this. You see that? You're going to drop it right between the strings. And then you're going to leave it in your case. A lot of clients ask me, or they tell me, hey, you know, I do have that humidifier on there, but I leave it outside. That's not going to do it any good. You got to have it enclosed. There's also some humidity packs at Guitar Center or your local music store, and they're like gel packs. That will work as well. But I can't stress enough to tell you that it's very important to humidify your guitars, because if you don't, you're going to have this problem. The binding is going to start coming off like this. Okay, the bridge starts coming off. The rosewood on the neck, on the fretboard, it starts getting weak. The frets start pushing in, or they start popping out because the wood gets weak. You want your guitar, you want the wood to be nice and kind of humidified and a little moist. Okay. Another thing too, not to get all nerdy on you guys, but when you play the guitar, the vibrations go through the wood. When it's properly humidified, it even sounds better. It resonates better through the wood. So, yeah, I know that's some like super geek stuff, but you definitely just want to have a humidifier. Uh, One of my clients, or not even, he wasn't even a client. He was just he was somebody that I knew told me, hey, I don't know if you know what you're talking about because I've had my guitar and it's perfectly fine. And there was no crack right here. And his binding wasn't coming off. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I was like, damn, this guy's telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I looked at his guitar and the whole dovetail heel joint was coming off. He didn't even see that. And that's another thing too. If it's a very severe case, your heel joint could start coming off. You don't want that to happen. This runs right now, that would be a full neck reset. It runs about $1,000 right now. And if your bridge comes off and you need a bridge reglue, anywhere from $250 to $400 you'll be paying. So I don't know, man. You know, you definitely just want to have your guitar humidified. And this customer, he's had this guitar for 20 years, and thank God that this is not lifting. I told him the whole process, and he was baffled by, you know, he just didn't know that you have to have a humidifier. So if you look right here, you guys could see that the binding is coming off, and I did fix it right here yesterday, this one. Another thing is the binding does shrink, okay? So when it starts coming off, it starts to shrink. So when you try to put it back on the groove right here, it's not gonna go. You're gonna see it kind of like lifting because it shrunk, okay? Kind of like this one right here. Here, watch, I'll show you guys. If you guys could see this, if you could see it, I try to push it down and it starts lifting on this side. You can't push it down because it shrunk, okay? If you guys see this, it won't let me push it down because it shrunk. A way to get rid of that is you want to apply heat, okay? See this little heat gun right here? I think this heat gun was about 35 bucks at Home Depot. And that's pretty much all the heat you're gonna need when you're working on a guitar. There's some guns that are stronger, but that one's pretty solid. And again, it was only 35 bucks, so you can probably even find some on offer people selling them for less. But anyway, I went ahead and did this. You could see right here. You can see right here on the top of the guitar, like in between the tape, you could see that there's still glue right there. So once I take all this off and I let the glue dry and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning all that up, you know, for the customer. And yeah, that's another thing. Another thing too is I'm just gonna go ahead and check. Always wanna check if there's any little things broken on the binding, because the binding does come off in other places. It could be coming off on a little tiny part of the guitar, and then that later on is going to be it's going to be bigger. So again, right here, I do have this part coming off pretty bad. You know, so that's it. Sometimes it shrinks so much that if it breaks off, you're going to have a little gap. And there's a way to, if you have to get new binding and kind of make like a little puzzle piece and make it fit and glue it and sand it and all that stuff, so you know somebody can't tell that it used to be that there's a missing piece there. So that's another thing too. This client brought this guitar to me and told me my binding's coming off, and you know, my job is to look further and say and point out, you know, the things that he cannot see, you know. I mean, obviously I'm experienced. I've been doing this for some time. So he came up to me just wanting that binding fixed. And I don't know if you guys could see, but you guys could see these frets. Look at that. They're green. That's all mold right there. This dirty son of a, no, I'm just kidding. No, but That's all mold right there. All that's mold. And the thing with that is, if you have frets, the way they're supposed to be is they're supposed to be super shiny. Okay. Over time, the metal, they oxidize, and it happens. There's a difference between the regular frets and stainless steel frets. Stainless steel, obviously, it's better. Those frets last longer, and they stay shinier for way longer. But like these frets right here, they're super dull. They're very oxidized. They're green. When I work on this guitar, by the time I have it done, it's gonna look brand new. And you could make a guitar look like that, just by polishing the frets, cleaning up the frets, and stuff like that. However, this guitar, another thing that happens, and I just want to kind of let you guys know, I'm kind of going off in a rant right now, but what happens with the guitar is people start playing for many years, or they start playing the guitar so much that much love, brother or sister. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Hello from Australia. Oh, that's awesome, man. Australia. That's super cool. How's it going? From California, United States. Okay, so what happens with the guitar is when you start playing the guitar, you're pushing down. There's some people that push very, very, very hard, and then there's some people that barely push on it. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that these frets are going to waste no matter what. You can play the softest you want. You can play the hardest. I never tell clients, like, when I see their guitars and there's divots on the frets. So these little frets right here, there starts to become divots because the string rubs off on it. So I don't tell my clients, hey man, don't be playing too hard. No, that's the way you play. That's the way you're comfortable. That's good. So the thing with that is it just depends on how hard you push. There start to become divots on the frets. And when that happens, there's a service called a level crown and polish. Okay. There's a few reasons why you would get a level crown and polish. This is one of the reasons why. One of the reasons is these frets right here, they all have to be straight. They all have to be the same height. Okay. This wood right here, when it starts getting weak, the frets start pushing in, or they pop out because there's little tiny ridges on the bottom of the frets. I'm going to show you something. This right here is called a fret rocker. Okay. It's from StewMac. I tried some of the other ones online. I trust StewMac. I think this is steel. This is very, very hard, tough metal, So what I do, and it has a bunch of different angles, if you could see. It has a little short one right here, semi-long, has a bigger one right here, and then the biggest is right here. The purpose of those angles is you want to go ahead and put it over 3 frets, only 3 frets. Why 3? Because if the middle one starts teeter-tottering, if this tool starts teeter-tottering, that means that the middle fret is higher. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example. And another thing, I always measure right here on the bass side, in the middle, and on the treble. I always measure there. Why do I measure there? Is because the fret could be popping out on one side. It could all be good until I get down here and it starts lifting, and then that's when you can go ahead and push it in. If the whole fret is high, the side, the middle, and the other side, that means that your fret is popping out. Okay. Why does this matter? This matters because when you are pushing down a string, let's say I'm pushing right here on the 11th fret, it rests on the 11th fret, right? But the 12th fret, it's going to be closer to the 12th fret because the string is physically going down, right? When that happens, if you have this fret a little bit up, like let's just say it's boosting a little bit up, it popped out a little bit, it's going to start to buzz. And that's what's called a dead fret. Okay. A lot of people say, hey, I need a setup. And I'm going to tell you guys this right here. Huge thing. A lot of customers, when I worked at Guitar Center, and I was a tech there, and a lot of customers would come in and tell me, I need a setup. There's dead spots everywhere. I need a setup. Okay. At the time, I was real green. I didn't really know. So I would just give them a setup and raise the action a little higher. And it was all good. You know, a lot of customers that, you know, the ones that know what they're talking about and know what a real good setup is supposed to feel like, they would tell me, hey man, this is way too high, right? Well, I started researching and learning and learning and learning. And what I figured out is that a setup is totally based on how level the frets are. That's what it's based on. Okay. Another thing, if you have an acoustic guitar, it's also based on the neck angle. Okay. This is something, I don't want to, go down the rabbit hole, but there's something called a neck reset. And the neck reset happens when the guitar, let me back up a little, right here. When the neck starts bending this way, and you can do a level crown and polish, you could do a setup, but the action is going to be super high. Okay. So that's the main thing. That's what you want to look for first. Okay. And a tech will be able to tell you. But let's say everything's good, which most likely it is. Okay. You're going to want to check the frets. Okay. If you go get a setup, they're going to go ahead and give you a setup, and that's fine. Okay. But if you want the lowest action possible, or you want something that feels really good, you're going to want to go based off of how straight the frets are. Okay. I'm going to show you how to use this tool right here. This is a fret rocker. They also have one that's a little thicker. It's called a fret kisser. Now the fret kisser is really accurate. This one's accurate too, but I don't know. I want to say that they made the fret kisser just to kind of make a little more money, in my opinion. But okay, I'm going to go ahead and start right here. Or you know what? Better yet, usually I always start down here. Okay. I always start down here, and I'm going to show you guys something. So I'm going to take these 3 frets. Okay. You see that? These 3 frets. I'm going to use the angle that's going to cover all of them. So if I go right here, this one covers it, right? If I go here, this one doesn't cover it, or this one doesn't cover it. But I'm going to go ahead and use the biggest side, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and, these little holes right here on the side, you put your fingers here, and I want you to rock very, very lightly, okay? There is no rocking happening right here, okay? Let me try the middle. Okay, right here in the middle, you can kind of hear that right there. Okay, it's rocking right there. That means that this fret right here in the middle only is lifting up. This side is not lifting up because I just checked it. This side's fine. Let's check this side over here, okay? Remember, I'm going to grab these 2 little holes right here. Rocking back and forth, nothing's happening. Okay, let me move down here. Rocking, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. No. Nothing's happening right there, okay? That's very, very, that's impressive for this area not to be lifting in any part of the frets. Why is that important? Because this guitar, customer told me this guitar is 20 years old. He rarely played it, which you can kind of tell by there's not really any like big divots anywhere, because a 20-year-old guitar, you're going to see divots everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and, remember, I'm changing the angle now. I'm going to go ahead and try right here. Okay, barely rocking it. Nothing. This is good. This is really good, really good. Nothing's happening. Oh, you guys can't see me anymore. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna keep rocking. This one, there's a little tiny rock right here. Okay. There's nothing here, nothing, everything's good. There's a tiny one right there. There's a big one right here. Yeah. So once I go ahead and do the full, so remember, I'm talking about a level crown and polish. That's one of the reasons why you would want to do that service, okay? Because the frets are kind of rocking up and down. Again, you want everything as flat as possible. If everything is as flat as possible, then you're able to lower you're able to lower the action as low as you can and get a really good feel. Okay, let's just say I had high and low spots everywhere. Okay, and if I lower the action, it's going to start buzzing, and the dead frets are going to start to reveal themselves. Okay. That's something that definitely happens. Another reason why you would want to get a level crown and polish is there's divots on the frets. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that this guitar, I rolled it to get a level crown and polish because you could see right here, if you look at the first fret, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but there's little tiny divots where the strings lay. All right here. And so there's little tiny divots all over the first frets. So that gives me the indication that the customer literally plays the open chords, the cowboy chords. He plays a lot of those because there's divots there everywhere. And again, this guitar, he said he had this guitar for 20 years. Makes sense. Sometimes I see those divots all around the fretboard, or I see them in the middle, 5th and 7th fret, and I ask the customer, hey, do you play a lot right here? And they go, yeah, how did you know that? And it's because the divots are the strongest. They're deeper right there in that section. So again, we're talking about a level crown and polish. What is a level crown and polish? What the heck is this guy talking about? A level crown and polish is, again, the goal for a level crown and polish is we're trying to flatten out the frets, or we are trying to hide those divots. Okay, so there's a little thing called fret life. Fret life is very, very important because if your frets are so low, like you've wasted them, or you have a really big divot that it's gonna take me a lot to grind it off, and there's not going to be enough room for a fret left, then you have no fret life. Or if your frets are really, really short, you have no fret life. Because what you have to do is take a little material off the top, and then you have to crown it with the crowning file. Okay. In this case, these frets are really, really nice. They're green, but they're full. You know, there's a big fret life here. They have a good amount of. He can probably do 1 or 2 or 3 more level crown and polishes. So I'm going to let you guys know, if you guys have a guitar and you have divots on there, I would highly recommend going and getting a level crown and polish, because that divot is only going to get bigger. And when it gets bigger, you are going to have to change the frets. Okay. There will be a time where you have to change them because the fret goes too far down for a level crown and polish. So essentially, you can save a fretboard or frets with the level crown and polish if the divots are not too deep. Okay. Now, I know I went in a whole rant. I was talking about the binding first, but thank you guys for still being with me. Let me go ahead and work on that and show you guys how to do that. So again, we're working on the binding. Okay, the binding's coming off. So what I have is I have a little tool here. I made a little sanding block where I can go ahead and sand off a lot of the glue, the pre-existing glue that's in there. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so what I have is I have a little piece of wood right here. It's, you know, I'm just gonna use this part right here, the tip, and I'll show you guys right now. So I do have some of this 220 sandpaper with adhesive on the back, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my scissors and cut it up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of put it right here on this like that, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it up. Just like that. Take the adhesive off. Bam. Put it there, and I have that 220 on here, okay? You see that? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up a little bit like that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start to sand it off like that. Okay, you guys see that? Just sand it off like that. The thing that you do not want to do is when I'm bending this up like that, I can see a little crease right here on this side. I do not want to break this binding. If I do, it's totally fine. I can go ahead and hide it with some sanding and stuff like that. But I don't want to break it, and I can see a little crease coming off right there. So again, so what I did was I went ahead and sanded it, and you can kind of see throughout, like where the wood's at, you could see that there's not really any glue. There's still glue in the pores, don't get me wrong, but there's not glue on the surface. And you know, I'm gonna heat it up a little bit so that I can, you know, melt a little bit of that glue off. And then another thing you want to do is, I have this sandpaper, and I'm gonna go ahead and sand the binding on the top just a little bit. This glue does come out really really good, okay? And then if you guys remember, I showed you that if you could see this binding, it's not going all the way down because it shrunk, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is, you kind of want to do this a little fast, so let me see. I have my Tight Bond glue. This is, I love this stuff. This stuff is, you know, I use it on all my guitar stuff. A lot of companies use Tight Bond. A lot of guitar manufacturers and stuff use Tight Bond. But, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this up a little bit, just like that. And if you're doing this stuff, you don't want to use super glue. Some people use super glue, but I don't like to use super glue, because if it gets anywhere, you would have to take it off, scrape it off. And if you're scraping off any of this, I don't know what they use here. They use some type of, I don't know, Danish oil or something. But if you get super glue on this, you're gonna have to scrape it off. And if you take off the finish, you're gonna have to recreate it. I don't have time for that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it the way I do it, because this wood glue right here, it's pretty simple to take off, you know. You can just wipe it off and it's fine. So just like that. Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to get this damn thing open. Okay, there you go. So we have this open. Again, what I want to do is, you can't push it down because it shrunk. Okay, you could see it start to lift. So you apply heat. Okay, You don't want to go directly on the thing. You kind of want to just move it back and forth a little bit. Just like that. Make sure you're pointing it at the spot where where it's at. Okay, so let's see. And you could see it goes right down. With the heat, it's all good. So let me go ahead and, when it dries up, it starts to stretch again. So was I a high school teacher in Ontario? Oh my God, that's funny. No, I never was, but that's so funny. Do I look, I probably look like the person. Um, that's hilarious, man. I would like to see that. It's funny. Some people tell me, oh yeah, you look like this person, that person, and they show me and I don't see it. They see it in me. But the biggest person that I've gotten, well, the celebrity that I've gotten, I don't think I look like any celebrity, and there's no way I look like this person, but I've gotten it a few times. Maybe when I was a little younger, more so I got it. But I've had people tell me I look like Sal Volcano from what's that show called? Uh, Impractical Jokers. I don't think I do at all. But you know, I was actually getting supplies at Ace Hardware one time, and this older guy comes up to me, and he literally drops his stuff, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, Sal!" And he comes up to me, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't know who you're talking about. My name's not Sal." And he goes, "No, it's you." And I'm like, "No." And it was just so funny. I've never gotten that, and I don't think I look like him at all. I think he's super funny. I love that show, but I don't look like Sal at all. But I've gotten that before. But that's funny though. No, I never was a high school teacher. Um, Again, I want to know who you're talking about because I want to see if I look like this person. Um, but no, sorry about that, Tom. I wasn't a teacher in Ontario. I'm very close to Ontario though. I'm like literally like a city or two over from Ontario. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and heat this up a little bit. You could see that. I mean, it's kind of hard to see through the camera, but it went back to being stretched, you know, and with the tape, with a little bit of pressure from the tape, it's going to bring it down, but it has to be heated. So I kind of got to work fast here. Okay. Again, I'm just kind of going up and down, up and down. I'm pointing it on the binding. I'm just going up and down. And bam, it's on there. It's on there. It's not going anywhere. So once it really heats up, it really expands. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do is okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this guitar down. You know what? Let me try to do it, and I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So let me just lift this up a little bit. You know what? Actually, let me go ahead and put some right here. Okay, let me go ahead and just putting some glue all around it. And you want to put glue. I always like to put glue on the wood and on the binding too. Kind of make it real wet and, you know, both sides. Oh, son of a biscuit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pour some in here. Just so that I'm not, you know, going back and forth. Okay, guys, so you could see here that I'm putting it on there. A lot of people, what they do is they'll use like a little brush too. You can use a brush, but I'm just kind of, you know, doing this. I do have, you want to get a little rag and wipe it. So again, it went back to being, okay, so. Ontario, California. Yeah, I'm in California. I'm not in Ontario, Canada. That would be cool though, to go to Ontario, Canada. Okay, so I'm kind of just brushing up right here, and you want to get some of this. You can get any type of tape. I like to use like painter's tape or fret tape. Um, and then you want to make it real, real tight, okay? So start from like the bottom right here, and then make it real, real tight like that, okay? So again, it's still lifting right here because I have to apply heat to make it real, you know. I live in Montclair, right by the mall. Oh yeah, yeah, I go that way all the time. Is it Montclair? Oh yeah, you know what I like? I like Sambagiano's in Montclair, and I always go to that ice cream place next door, Handles. That's like the spot right there, man. Yeah, Sambagiano's is really, really good pizza place. Okay, so I'm going, and you could see right there that I'm really applying pressure though, okay? You want this thing to be tight. Yeah, this job right here is again, it's really, really common. A lot of people tell me, hey, my binding's coming off. They don't know about the humidifier. When I worked at Guitar Center, I was doing a lot of babe? 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 Yeah, when I was at Guitar Center, I was doing sales, like in between, you know, like the work and stuff. You know, I like customer service, so I would always help people. And even though it wasn't my title, but we all kind of had to do the stuff there. Well, I would always tell people about this, like, hey, get a humidifier too if you're buying an acoustic. If you have an acoustic, get a humidifier, you know. It's really important, especially since it's really dry here in California. So, again, I'm applying heat, but I'm not going directly on it. I don't want to ruin the finish. Okay, so just like that. Again, you want to make sure that it's really, really tight, because the binding can come up a little bit, and you don't want that. You don't want to redo everything and start sanding again. And you don't want to go up too close with this thing too, because it could start burning off, some of the it could start burning some of the finish that you have on there. Yeah, so I'm just kind of going right there, just like that. So now that I have the tape on here and it's still a little hot, the binding, you can see that now it's like it's really, really sticking down on there. Okay, so it's nice and hot. The binding is nice and hot, and it's laying on there because it's there you go. Just like that. And with that being said, you could see that the binding is all flush now. Everything's good. I do have to take off a little bit of this glue right here. You can kind of see that. But another thing too, everyone, if you using super glue, some people use that. They're very careful with it. I don't like to use super glue because it's, it could be very messy on the finish, and on this type anyway, I can take off some of this stuff, and I don't want to recreate it. I don't like, kind of working double. But the wood glue is just as fine. I just wouldn't get anything that like I know people have used Gorilla Glue and stuff like that. That stuff's different. I know it says you can use it on wood, but it expands way too much. And anything that expands, you want to have it clamped, So yeah. But that's it for this one, guys. I'm gonna go live on Instagram. If you guys look at my Instagram account, it's Lagoon Guitar Repair. Yeah, it's Lagoon Guitar Repair. Check it out. I'm gonna go live there. I'm gonna do some fret work. I'm gonna do some fret polish and stuff like that. So if you guys want to join me there right now, that's where I'm gonna be. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back. But I'm going to be on Instagram. If you guys have Instagram, that is Lagoon Guitar Repair, Lagoon Guitar Repair. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Subscribe if you're not subscribed anymore. I will go live with videos that I do of a guitar repair and also performance videos. If you guys have any live looping questions, just you guys can write me at Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, my handle is Lou Lagoon. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys soon. Have a good one.